All right, folks. Today I'm here, like I said, with George Kypreos from GK Properties in Las Vegas. How are you doing, sir?
What's up, my friend?
You know, hanging out with you for the rest of the afternoon. So that's a highlight after our long day.
We hung out a lot today. I
Yeah,
feel like
exactly.
we rode out.
We brought out. So, George, congratulations, number one agent in the entire state of Nevada. That's big.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dude, that's big. I really want to be number one in California. If you had any advice for me on what to do, what would it be?
You know, shoot, California is a tough one because there's a lot of versions of number one. You have number one in transactions, you got volume, you got title fees. So I think we always pick. I think last year was the first year I rolled the table. I took it in total dollars, units, and title fees collected. That's how the title companies rank us, right? Is like how much we pay them. So pick one of your niches. Go for volume. I think is a good one. Or obviously you're on track, but the competition is stiff out there. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot
man.
of us out here that we fight for it. So.
You pulled the trifecta, all three.
That was a good one.
Good job, brother. So we were talking a little bit offline, so let's just jump right into it. We were talking about something that's important for both of us. That's recruiting, right? I've been adding. I'm going to brag a little bit while I interview you, but since we're on, I've been adding about 3 to 4 agents a week to my team, which also leads them going to my brokerage. What are you finding have been your best ways to just get that first conversation going?
You know, a lot of times we're on the other side of a transaction with an agent, right? Like either we're listing a home, it's a Zillow offers home, and we got an agent that's on the buy side, and then they're like, you guys were actually really nice. You had your act together. What's going on over there? And so sometimes it happens that way. There's obviously like the network, the social media and the Facebook, where I think every realtor in Vegas is friends with every realtor. There's like, that's it. So if somebody does something, everybody sees it. So that, there's a clique or a network, and people are kind of following who and who's closing and who's doing what. But it's a small town. We have 3 million people here, but I swear it feels like we're a tiny little town out in the hills sometimes. Word gets out of who's doing what, and hopefully it's mostly organic. We don't pay ads or do any of that stuff.
Wow, that's great. So no ads.
No.
How about any inside sales agents calling the other agents?
We don't call out. Suneet, the other concern I have is I want to give agents an opportunity and have something to offer them. And I don't want to bring in 20 and not have enough to feed them, right? So I try to find the balance of, how my business is growing and our feelers are out there and the phones are ringing. And then as the phones are ringing and people can't get to them anymore, then I try to bring some more in. And ultimately, every agent isn't a fit for us. I'm looking now for winners and killers. I'm not looking to have 500 at this company. I'd rather have 50 that want to do 50 deals a year. And I'm looking for killers. I want to work around people who work like I do, who live with the phone and sacrifice some of their life to give to their family and work hard while we have it. And so I'm looking for a certain niche. I'm not just taking anybody with a heartbeat.
Interesting. That's where we're different. But I mean, you know what you're doing, obviously, right?
Onboarding, liability, space, everything, bandwidth. It's got to be good for both, right? It's for me, anyways. It's got to be good for me as a broker owner, and it should be good for the agent as what I give he or she. So, I'm looking for folks that are kind of more like-minded in where we're trying to go with our goals.
That's awesome. So, no paid ads, no people dialing. It's just organic, word of mouth. I mean, so we were talking about this too. You do a lot on social media. You make a ton of videos, both about local markets, stats, and knowledge, and tips for other real estate professionals, not only in your area but nationally, right? So,
Yeah.
is there any kind of like mapped out strategy there, or is that also like an organic thing that just happens to be killing it?
I think like I try to stay in front of my community and get the knowledge I have out to people. I don't feel like hiding knowledge is beneficial for anybody in the community. So if I learn something and I can share it, sure. If I invent some proprietary thing, sure, I'll try to capitalize. But when it comes to like how to help a consumer feel better or protect somebody or save somebody from going through fraud or something, like I'm going to share it.
Yeah.
So I'm out there basically speaking what's on my mind and the things that I'm walking through every day. And I think that feeds the recruiting engine a bit because people are like, they hear you enough and hopefully they like what they hear. And if they do, that helps kind of maybe them send you a ping or a text saying, hey, George, if you got time, can we chat? So, I do have a targeted Facebook ad that I do run to realtors. So I do have one little ad.
Okay, cool.
So I don't want to get caught in a fib. Small bucks. I think it's $5 a day or $10 a day, but I grind it out there, and it's basically like, look, hey, if it's not working where you're at, give me a jingle. It's a quick one, and I think people's bandwidth to listen to those type of things is like this. So I try to make these little things like 15 seconds, and I've been learning to have. I don't know if you've seen them where there's like scrolling words here, not at the bottom. Yeah. But it's basically like me here, and then basically like, the year's half over. How many have you done? Question mark.
Really?
Are you on your way? Yeah, like because people don't listen. They glance.
Yeah, you only have 2 seconds, they say, to get their attention, right?
That's it.
Man, you are winning if you're able to scale with one ad a day. Like, bro, do you want to know how many ads we have running? I can't even count them. I don't even know. It's funny.
It's a different business model, right? I mean, I think you're looking at it as a brokerage side, and I'm trying to build the team side where I'm managing the leads, and I can't trust a team. So a brokerage agent, if they want to do one a year, that's fine.
Yep.
Right? I don't mind. But a team agent, one that wants to sit with us on the Kypreos team, like they have to be willing to like suit up every day and take calls every day. Sure, you get a vacation. Sure, there's holidays, but like I'm looking for winners and killers. So those are hard to come by.
Yeah.
Those are really hard to come by. I mean, people are like, I'm interested in joining your company. How does like 3 weeks from now at like 2 p.m. sound? I'm like, that's not my guy. Right? Yeah. Like either you're hungry or you're not. I mean, it's, right away, right away. So it's so competitive. The business is so competitive. The leads, internet leads, right? You don't know who they are. Remember like 5 years ago, if you were going to show a house, you wanted to know if they had money in the bank or where their loan was, and you want to know their social security number. Now it's like, what time, right? Like the game has changed. So you have to be like fast and quick, and you have to know tech, and you have to know how to lean into your managers, know your scripts. Like it isn't for the weak anymore. Like, I think as realtors, we were all entitled to easy money, walking around, waking up late, happy hours, flip-flops, whatever. Like those days are gone. Time to go to work.
You're absolutely right, man. You nailed it. Those days are gone, right? And I think, at least here in my market, that those agents, we can't do open houses here. I don't know about there.
Nope.
But that's really affecting a lot of these traditional non-internet lead type agents, right?
Yeah, think about it. I put one out, I think, this morning. Sphere. I'm born and raised in Vegas, right? Parents sent me to a nice high school, kind of where everybody knows everybody. I'm like, Mr. Vegas, how many people do I personally know that are going to call me and go, George, I want to buy or sell? There's too many agents that are connected to our Sphere. Can't make a living on your Sphere anymore. No. I don't care how Joe Vegas you are, you can't. It's the internet will gobble them up because you could be their buddy, but they're going to see a house on Zillow, click, and tour request, and then next thing you know, one of my killers is out there showing them, and it's over. And you're gonna get a Christmas card, and they're gonna go, what? What about me?
Yes, you're absolutely right. I feel the same way, brother. Absolutely. I just want to ask one thing, since you said Sphere, and then I want to get into leads, because that's me being selfish and wanting to know a couple of your tricks, bro. Is are you still in production with your Sphere at all, or no?
It's hard to say no. I showed a couple houses, listed a couple homes recently. I'm honored to have people reach out to me personally and want George. And I don't want to be too big for my britches. You know, I want to remember my roots. And honestly, like, you should know how to do this job. You know what I mean? Like, you should know how to do this job. So if any of my sphere, past clients, or, you know, people that I know reach out to me, I do work with them, and I personally work with them. Yeah, I have some helpers and stuff, but I show up. I pride myself on service. I think that's how we've all gotten here, hard work and service. So I still do it. It's nothing like my old days. My old days before I had, you know, a big institutional relationships, I'd sell, you know, 30, 40 houses a year, and they were all the people I knew from church or school or neighborhoods or whatever. And now it's contracted, because I think, unfortunately, people think we're too busy. You know, people, you know, I do get that card from somebody and they did buy with somebody else. I'm like, George, you know, like, you know, we just wanted a condo. And I'm like, dude, I could have helped you, you know, like, it happens to everybody.
Sure.
That's just how it goes.
Good. Well, I'm in the same place as far as Sphere and my SOIs. Yeah, totally. I mean, we got to learn. We got to stay in the trenches a little bit, just so we know. You're absolutely right. I don't want to be that old manager or old brokerage owner who doesn't know shit about how to do a deal or what's going on, man. I don't.
No, you have to know how to turn the computer on, and you got to be able to do a dot loop, right? You got to, you know. Last time I heard dot loop, I freaked out.
Me too.
I thought it was a scary little thing under the bed, like that clown under the bed that grabbed your leg when you were a kid. I was frightened of dot loop, you know. And my partners are probably laughing because I'm still pretty not very good at it. I do need some help.
Yeah.
But I use some of the other ones, but you know, we try to stay as relevant as we can.
That is so funny. I'm the same way, dude. Scared of it. So online leads. You guys are crushing them right now. You guys running an ISA program out there?
You know, you can call it that. I didn't initially think they were ISAs. You know, on the seller side, we run the phones. We pick them up live. We have the house. We know who we're talking to. I don't like handoffs. It freaks me out.
It's messy.
Because the consumer gets handed off so many times in life, and they're on so many different websites anyways. They might go, you know, Redfin, Trulia, Zillow, and then they end up with you, and they've talked to so many people they can't keep everybody straight. So I didn't like the idea, and I had other friends in the business setting appointments, and I didn't like the idea of, well, let's set an appointment for, you know, Friday at 5, and it's Wednesday. I'm like, shoot, a lot can go wrong between Wednesday and Friday. You know, my competitor can knock on the door, they can change their mind. You know, like, you got them on the phone. So my current strategy is on both sides, buyers and sellers. Whoever picks up that call can take it A to Z and is knowledgeable about that actual house, right? So if it's a seller lead, you know, we know the neighborhood, we know kind of an idea of a value. You know, we always try to identify the story, right? Like, everybody knows how much the house is worth. Everybody knows what your fees are. Why did you call? What prompted you to call in today? You know, is there a life event? Is it too big? Is it too small? You need to get next to mom. Like, I think if you can identify the reason for wanting to know the value, you'll get to closing a sale with somebody. But if it's just the numbers, it's too vanilla. It's not life, right? So I have two very, very good salespeople that help me on the listing side, and we work very close together. And that's basically, we want to help. So we want to know, if you're just fishing around for a number, we can give you that. But if you really need to move and want to get next to mom, or can't handle the stairs, or one of those things, we want to be a part of that life change. So same thing on the buyer side. If we get a buyer lead, those are even tougher. Think about the difference between a seller and a buyer lead. A seller at least has a house.
Yeah, it's easier.
Right? Everybody with a heartbeat is a buyer, right? If you got a pulse, you're looking at houses. So, I mean, it's a very different game, and you got to have the mindset that they're all not going to go to the finish line. So how do you give yourself the best shot, right? How do you ask the right questions? They've talked to several people in this industry as well. They're on different websites. They're calling for sell signs. They're getting texts. They're getting bombs. They're getting blasted by guys like us. So why'd you call? What was it about this home that you liked? You know, what was it that that interested you, not just, when do you want to go or that. I think you got to try to get into the fiber of like what made them call in. And if you can do that, you can get a relationship, you can make a commission.
Dude, I hear about your one listing manager. What's her name?
Crystal.
Yes.
Yeah,
if I hear about,
she's one of the two that I mentioned, and she's unbelievable. There's no better.
Ashley brings her up to me once a week, and I'm gonna look like stop, okay? Like I'll call George and get it going.
Well, I think we started with that whole idea of let's just give them the goods on the phone. Let's not make an appointment. Let's not go see them. Let's not. Hey, you called. You made time for this today. You're on the phone. You're talking about your house. Why would I say, how's Friday sound? Like, we get to it right there. And if they want it, if they want it in person, we do it. But we're having traction with people on the phone, and we found a message. It's not a script. It's basically a rhythm that, and every consumer is different, but it's a rhythm that we found and Crystal's helped develop with another young man named Sean that's with me here. And they basically get the sellers to tell us their story. And if they tell us their story, we're the best at selling. I mean, we have a great machine. Gina, she put together like the dispositions. When we put houses for sale, we market them great. We sell them great. The service is great. We protect for COVID if they're worried about that. We price aggressively if there's like a, kind of a 911, if they got a little bit of time. We really are good at what we do. So it helps. The salespeople that are on the phone know they got the back end support, because no good agent can do phone sales, sign contracts, write contracts, lock boxes, pictures, showing time. The business is all chopped up, right? Like now we've cut it up. Got guys on the phone, guys sending contracts, everybody has their lane, and then you got the managers that look at the umbrella of it all, and together it needs to look like one big happy family.
Well, man, that's one thing I gotta, tip my hat to you, bros. Your team is top notch. Everyone on that team is awesome, and I'm having a good time getting to know you guys. And if COVID wasn't happening, I'd be in Vegas a hell of a lot more.
I turned 50 in April. We were going to bash it out with all you dealer offers, brokers, and I was going to go big. And
got that one's paused for now, but I will come for that party next time. So what about like these older leads? Are you entrusting the agents to keep up with these people too? Because I feel like that can be a challenge.
That's the pond of gold that they asked for a value, or they called in once and you've scrubbed them and they haven't listed, but that's a tough one, right? In a perfect world, you find some hungry agents that are new from somewhere else and don't have anything to do, and you give them 10 at a time and you tell them, report back, and how'd you do with your 10? But they add up. After you've done this a while, you end up with thousands of these people.
Yeah.
And so believe it or not, you try a little bit of everything. I like to drop a note in the mail, once in a while, a letter or something that's kind of more formal. It says, look, we crossed paths at some time ago. Seems like you haven't done anything, but you must have had an interest at some point. Listen, if you want to talk about value or something, give me a call. Here's the hard part. I send it as George sometimes, but then like my other teammates have to answer the phone and kind of answer on my behalf, right? Sure. It's hard to sell, call the Kypreos team for a value of your home. It just doesn't sound personal enough. You know what I mean? People want to call somebody.
Sure.
So that whole thing is I think always awkward with the Lawton team and the Sanders team and my team and your team. I think that's always been kind of some of the clunkiness of it, but those seller leads are gold, and I don't think any of us have figured it out yet. There's people in there that need it, and sure, you can call them. They don't want to hear from you. They're tired of getting bombarded probably, and I'm all ears on if you got ideas. That's probably a place that I need some work.
Bro, you know me, I geek out on this stuff super hard, and I literally have every system on the planet working through them as far as text automations from 2 different companies, retargeting on Facebook with advertisements, sending out these HomeBot emails, which look really sharp and give an accurate value. But do you know what works best? Picking up the phone, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's
of
it.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
So what's been going on with all your community involvement with real estate down there in Las Vegas?
I'm proud to say I'm a director of the LVR, the Las Vegas Association of Realtors here, and so I'm part of that group. And it's been difficult. We have the COVID thing, so you got members that are feeling some financial pressure, and we're trying to find ways to protect them and allow them to be part of our association and be mindful of costs and things and budget. And so that's new for me. It's I've been on a few boards, but that one was new, so I've learned a lot. Now we have rental eviction moratorium, and I work in the rental acquisition business as well. I've acquired homes for REITs and stuff, and now you got folks that don't have to pay, and I get it. It's so hard. There's always two stories, right? There's always the family who is affected and can't pay, and then you got a landlord that's like, hey, that guy's getting $4,000 a month, and not paying me, and I have a $1,200 mortgage. Like, what the heck? So, we're trying to work with our local legislators and try to explain that, we do need to find a balance. You just can't say no evictions forever. And I know it's a dirty word, but, the housing market in Vegas anyways, the prices are very stable. They've actually kind of ticked up, which if you told me the Strip would be closed for 2 months, unemployment would be 20%, couldn't go to a pool, couldn't go to a bar, couldn't go to a nightclub, I'd be like, we're screwed. But what is it? You got mortgage forbearance, so that's keeping homes from hitting the market because they don't have to pay, or they're not worried they have to pay. Then you got tenants that are month to month that probably would have bounced and been moved by now. Now they're in kind of safe mode. So you got those homes will come to market. So you got, I'd say half the sellers aren't going to sell. So it's a supply and demand game, right? It's the basic economic principle of all time. If less sellers come to market because there's no need to sell, forbearance protects you from making payments, and rental evictions, basically moratorium, stops people from moving out, and landlords can't push the button and bail out. So there's no homes. So we have record low inventory. We still have low rates. So even if we had 10 buyers for one seller in the peak, now we might have 4. Yeah. Still 4 to 1.
Sure. Well, that's great, dude. I admire that you're involved locally with that and have time to do that with a little kid. I have 2 little girls too, and we both work. So good for you to make time, dude.
Thank you.
What's the plan going forward with everything with real estate?
I have a vision ultimately, hopefully, to grow the team to a large group and have a big market share of Las Vegas. I feel like it took time to assemble partners and managers, and I have some really key players that are plugged in now and are helping with it. So it's downhill. I think we've gone uphill a lot, and we feel like we're kind of at the top of the peak, and we're kind of looking down, going, okay, like who's going in that pasture, who's going over there, who's going over there, and I want it all. I want to be careful. There's always the risk of taking on a lot of financial liability and growth. And so, I watch these teams, and we're friends with some of these guys that are spending, $100K a month in marketing, and you're like, holy crap.
Way more than that. Yes.
No, I know. And I'm like, I'm, kind of like, how many, listings can you get if you have a billboard? Like, and how much, and then sometimes I'm too simple of a thinker, I think, for that. But, I want all I can get. I only have so much time, I think, in this business. I don't know that I'm going to do it forever. 5-10 years, I don't know, whatever, God blesses me with. And so I want to make the most of every day. I'm up early and go to bed late, and I'm going to squeeze every drop out of it that I can. And then when it's done, it's done. And so, exactly where we're going, I don't know, but hopefully get more.
Yeah. Massive team, market share, right? That's it, baby.
Yeah. I like to see a GK in front of everybody's house that wants to sell it.
Yeah, me too. Yes, in your state at least. Well, I want to thank you for being on, man. That was super fun. You had me smiling almost half the time. If people want to reach out to you or send you a referral in Vegas, what's the easiest way to find you, bro?
Probably Facebook or, I don't know. Look me up, Google me, George Kypreos. I'm pretty easy to find. I think my cell phone's out there.
Yeah, good. Cool, man. Well, we'll see you soon. Thanks for being on.
All right, Suneet. Thanks, my man.